So my presentation was about inherited retinal diseases and basically an overview of some of the more common retinal diseases that are out there, as well as I dive into genetic testing and the value of it, how it can not only help diagnose these conditions, which, by the way, don't all manifest the same. They have a range of manifestations. Uh, Genetic testing is not only a way to um, confirm a diagnosis, but it's also a great way to rule out a diagnosis. There's other things that can certainly masquerade as a possible inherited retinal disease. People could have presentations that may be the result of some type of past inflammatory um, incident in their eye or as a result of medication use. So I dive into genetic testing quite a bit in the lecture as well. And then, but the predominant part of the lecture is on the therapies that are out there for patients with inherited retinal diseases. Currently, there's really one that we have that's approved. However, many are on the precipice of approval, and I highlight those medications that are in that process and that we should hopefully have available to our patients soon so that we are prepared essentially as eye care providers to identify these patients, make sure that let them know what therapies are available. And independent of that, there's a lot of patients who have inherited retinal diseases that there is nothing available for them because it's still a very, very rare thing. So letting people know, that there is more we can do for our patients. And what does more look like? More looks like making sure that our patients are referred for appropriate low vision specialists to basically help navigate their lifestyle and utilize devices as appropriate to whatever their loss may be, vision loss may be. Second is that one of the reasons that it's difficult to get a lot of treatments for these patients that have these rare conditions is because of the limited number of studies that are available, but also the difficulty in recruiting patients. And that really goes with all clinical trials. So I also highlight how important it is to make our patients aware of clinical trials that are available and encourage our patients to and refer our patients to sites that are performing clinical trials to see if our patients qualify. And clinical trials in eye care extend certainly beyond inherited retinal diseases. And then finally, also providing our patients with additional resources such as support groups and foundations that actually provide a lot of support and registries that we can inform our patients about to sign up with that will essentially provide them any information on the latest breakthroughs in therapy and as well as resources that they can utilize for their condition. Yes, I'm very excited for Alkeus is just on the precipice, Alkeus Pharmaceuticals, of getting a new treatment approved. I believe that one we'll probably see next, hopefully. Another company that is creating a new type of therapy that altogether is very, very exciting is Nanoscope, and they are utilizing the concept of optogenetics. And you hear this word, it's like, what does that mean? And so learning about that is very interesting. I discussed that in my lecture. And what makes this particular technology very, very interesting is that a lot of treatments are tailored towards a specific condition. So for example, Luxturna that's out right now, that's been out, there's a very small subgroup of retinitis pigmentosa patients that can benefit from this treatment. But there's so many other types. So with technology that Nanoscope has in their, basically in this type of therapy, it's called gene agnostic, meaning that this particular therapy doesn't specifically go after curing like one type of condition, one specific. It will be good for a spectrum of patients, for example, with retinitis pigmentosa. And so therefore, that's very, very exciting. Still, genetic testing is valuable and making sure these patients have it, but that type of therapy is very, very exciting. So as far as inherited retinal diseases, there's so many out there. That's the other thing. There's just so many out there, and many of them are actually part of a whole syndrome that present. So patient has a full syndrome, but they're also very, very rare. And with it being so rare, there's limited or no treatments. And I personally hope that, and this is my hope with artificial intelligence, which is another area of my interest, that we can utilize artificial intelligence to truly look at existing trials that have been done in, and this is already being done, by the way, with AI. However, more companies need to make that information available, data available. So I implore all pharmaceutical companies to make their data available. And there is an initiative for that already. And so that basically what takes us humans much longer to do, an AI can essentially go through it, identify potential molecules for other conditions. And, it's obviously a pharmaceutical company. It's easy for them to pick a disease, one that they'll have a lot of customers for. However, the rare ones, they sort of get forgotten, but they are individuals that should also have that benefit. And so my hope is that future direction is that these more rare conditions, that more and more clinical trials will be available for those patients, so that we have something to offer those patients as well, because there's nothing worse than saying there's just nothing that we can do. There's just nothing. So there's always this should be something that we can always do. Just a very important take-home message, because I have, we're presenting here today in this forum, but I have presented this lecture or a different version of it in other areas, in other programs as well. And one universal thing that I have learned is that a lot of providers are not making this patients aware that there are clinical trials and studies that they can participate in. And the value of patients getting involved in clinical trials. When patients get involved in clinical trials, they essentially, I would say, receive the best care there is. They are checked, they are given certainly the most comprehensive examination for their eyes, as well as multiple forms of imaging, but also monitored for any type of systemic side effects or anything else. So many things are monitored so closely and so well, and a huge amount of resources, certainly monetary resources, are devoted to research and development, and clinical trials is a big part of that. And nothing can come to market if we don't get enough patients to participate in a study. So I said it before, but I just want to bring that home again, that whether it be for an inherited retinal disease, or even if it's something like diabetic retinopathy, macular degeneration, there's a clinical trial for almost everything. So please be aware of clinical trials, clinicaltrials.gov, and make sure that you tell your patients about it. And if there's not one in your local area, a lot of these trials will also provide monetary support for transportation, and really it's just, how do I say it? It's just, we would be doing our patients a disservice if we did not make them aware of this for them.